An elephant might never forget, as the old saying goes, but does the internet? And does this matter? This is the focus of this video as I seek to delve deeper into the question of digital lifespans and specifically our responsibilities to ourselves as we take up our roles as digital creators and seek to do so affirmably as netizens for personal, professional, and indeed societal benefit. My aim here is to offer some points we should think about before we hit publish, send, like, or perform any other act of digital creation. To give these points context and root them in everyday experience, I'll give some real-life examples. I want to explore two seemingly contrasting scenarios: the lifespan of a piece of content being short-lived and the lifespan of a piece of content being very long. As you'll see, these aren't really the opposite circumstances they might first seem. And this is to do with the online conditions and contexts of our creations, as I have discussed elsewhere with my suggested digital creation framework. So, scenario number 1. If the lifespan of your creation were to be very short, i.e. your content were to be deleted, would this matter? Take a few moments to think about this. You can pause the video now. Here, I don't want to focus on the scenario in which you hold something on a platform which goes down or stops functioning, or you have data bound up in a tool to which you can no longer gain access. Cue the instance of MySpace, which, when it went down, took 52 million songs uploaded by budding musicians with it, or the many instances attested online of individuals losing access to Hotmail or other old email accounts. The only thing to be said here is that if something is important, make sure you save multiple copies, and at that, not only on a cloud service such as Google Drive or Dropbox, but on a local drive such as your computer, or perhaps on a USB stick. Better still, perhaps, hold a physical copy of your content. Sometimes analog can really win. Instead, I want to focus on the instance in which you post something on social media, only to take it down, delete it very soon afterwards. Would this remove all possible repercussions, consequences for you? Would this mean that your content would have no impact on you? The answer is, we just can't be sure. And as I want to underline, it's simply not worth the risk. I have discussed elsewhere that a key difference between online and offline creation is that with online creation, we tend to see that lifespan is not proportional to impact. I have also commented on the need for us to be prepared to deal with responses if we are to be digital creators and put our creations out into the ether. Well, now is the time to expand on these points. The thing is that there's so much material online, so much noise, that it might well be that something you post simply doesn't get noticed. It gets lost in the massive commentary and content. It might alternatively be that something you post and which attracts a mixed reaction and even creates a scandal gets forgotten the next day. Digital headlines ending up lining the digital waste paper basket, as it were. However, there is plenty of evidence to confirm that we simply can't control this. Our evidence takes the form of the many, many cases of individuals who have casually posted something on social media only to find that it has far-reaching repercussions for both their personal and professional lives. Let me give some examples. The PR executive, Justine Sacco, whose pre-travel tweet before boarding a plane to South Africa cost her job in 2013. The journalist whose Facebook post in response to a shooting in Las Vegas in 2017 cost her job. The university professor who lost his position following his tweet responding to the devastating hurricane that had hit Texas the same year. The daycare worker who lost her job following a jokey message sent on Snapchat. The teacher whose Facebook picture and post led to her losing her teaching position in 2011. A quick Google search will give you many, many more examples. Perhaps you can spot the pattern. That all of these people lost their job. And much more in many cases. The common scenario is this. An individual posts something casually on social media, often Facebook or Twitter, and often in jest. Their comment causes offence, often for racial, gender, or political reasons. or it indicates they're not giving their full attention to their work. Their post goes viral for the wrong reasons, i.e. it is shared far and wide online, and there is a huge backlash. The individual or close friend deletes the post-tweet message and often the account too. But it is often already too late. Their employer catches wind of the incident and the original tweeter or digital creator faces the music, amongst other repercussions. In other words, there is a huge chasm between the intention of the post and tweet, oftentimes, and the message, and the subsequent impact it has. This I have explored elsewhere in the comparatively low-key example of a UK journalist commenting on a local news story in July 2020. It is worth mentioning at this point that the question of social media backlash and the consequences for the offline lives of individuals is a topic of fierce debate currently, and is broadly referred to as the cancel culture movement. This is the idea that we need to question whether places like Twitter becoming a power court of public opinion is a good thing, as a US journalist commented in his July 2020 article entitled "Twitter's Cancel Culture, a Force for Good or a Digital Witch Hunt? The answer is complicated." As a now infamous open letter released in July 2020 with 153 signatories argued, the danger is that free speech is suppressed, that we don't allow for human mistakes, and we don't nurture the conditions for healthy debate. There is also the point that this trend sees us elevate responses, often made without all the facts. Social media has undoubtedly facilitated the growth of important movements, such as the Me Too movement. On the flip side, however, we haven't quite worked out where the balance should be struck. Currently, we have some extreme reactions to online expression. On the one hand, showers of support can gush forth. On the other, we witness the ferocious unleashing of cyberbullying, and even the related phenomenon of doxing, whereby someone's private details are published online so that the backlash against their post spills over from the online world to their offline existence. This question is worthy of significant debate and reflection. For now, what I want to underline here is the need for us to be keenly aware that a comment put out on social media without much critical thought can have a very serious impact on our lives, whether or not we agree that this is a fair consequence, and indeed, whoever we are. What is marked about the above examples is that none of these people were famous. Justine Sacco had 170 Twitter followers before her plane left London Heathrow, for example. I also want to nod to the importance of thinking about what we share online. The aforementioned examples also show a misunderstanding of how internet privacy works. In my last example, the teacher who lost her job after putting up a Facebook post of her holding alcoholic drinks insisted that she had a very high privacy setting across her account. The problem is, as many commentators have warned, once you post something online, you lose control of it. Deletion becomes a moot point. Even if you delete it, it is likely that a screenshot or copy has already been made. The problem, in fact, goes even further than this, in that, in many cases, we actually give away control of our information. Take Facebook, for example. Many of us don't regularly review our privacy settings, and meanwhile happily share photos with our location tagged. So, in fact, the lifespan of a piece of content goes beyond its actual existence in a forum or on a platform. This leads us back to my opening comment on lifespans. What we see is that, in fact, we have to think about short and long lifespans of online content in the same breath. A better way to pose the opening scenarios would, therefore, be, what if the lifespan of your creation, even if short in terms of your control, were to be very long or indefinite? Would it matter? Here we might briefly wade again into the cancel culture debate. There have recently been many an example of celebrities and politicians' pasts being dredged up, brought back to haunt them. Again, many examples here, one being the case of those whose social interactions with the financier and sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, including Prince Andrew, son of the British monarch Elizabeth II, were documented and then quickly circulated online. But, as we have seen, it isn't just celebrities and public figures who are at risk. We are too. We just never know when that comment or picture might resurface, just when we least want it to. So to come back to our questions of memory, elephants and the internet then, the answer is that the internet can forget, but often not when most convenient for us, and certainly not with us in full control. And this matters, as what isn't forgotten can have a far-reaching impact on our personal and professional lives.